Hello, this is Linda Vettrus-Nichols, and have I got an amazing person to introduce to you, Therese Skelly. Welcome, Therese.
I'm so glad to be here. Thanks so much for the invitation.
Absolutely. I just wanted to let everybody know a little bit about you before we get going. I just love your title, The Psychology of Greatness. Like, yay! So, Therese blends mindset, intuition, and energy tools to help mission-driven women make more money doing what they love, while adding in a little kick-ass mama bear with love. I like that. I can do the kick-ass mama bear thing too, right? In a safe space. So tell us a little bit about your story of transformation and kind of what has brought you to this point in your business.
I think my whole life has been about transformation. But this point in my business, so I used to be a psychotherapist. I started out just doing therapy because I had a couple kids and I was just focused on raising my kids and a little practice. And then I got guided to go to life coaching school, but that's not very much different. You know, that's just asking better questions and focusing on what you want instead of what you don't want. Then I strangely was guided to be a business coach. And Linda, the funny part about that is I have no background. Like I have a criminal justice undergraduate and a master's degree in counseling. So there was no part of me that should have taken that step, right? But yeah. I know for me, that was my soul. That was my soul absolutely going, do this. And my brain was like, what the hell are you doing, right? They listened. And I think it was probably the first time I was so conscious of like, this is crazy and I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah, right.
And so that one decision literally changed the trajectory of my whole life. Like that the people I met, who I became, and that is like when I like entered and just said, okay, now I'm ready.
Wow.
And so I started out in the business because 15 years ago, we weren't talking about energy and emotions and feminine energy and healing. And so I just was a marketing strategist. So I was a marketing strategist, business coach, but I would sneak in all the transformation. I would sneak in the mindset stuff. And just gradually, I've just had the courage to say, no, like there's lots of people that are good at marketing, but I'm freaking ninja good at this stuff, right? So I still do business coaching, but my little slice is working with who you are and who you have to be and, you know, handling the mindset stuff instead of just only strategy pieces of it. So that's been, it's just like gradually saying yes more and more and more to what's mine to do.
Yeah, I love it. And you've been like, what, a six-figure earner? I mean, you've really done well in what you're doing. Yeah. And zeroing in on your ninja.
Yes. That was hard. That was hard to, you know, because it's really woo-woo and it's esoteric and it's so much easier to say, oh, I can teach you how to do marketing, or I could write your copy for you. When you say, oh, I'll help you get aligned and embody, that's like, what? You know, so it's there was a lot of resistance for me to just step and say, what the hell, just do what you're supposed to do. So it's been a journey.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Well, welcome to the up level, right?
Absolutely. That is the truth. Yes.
You make that decision and everything goes a little bonkers. Like our eyeballs. So Therese had an eye injury that left her like, whoa, where is my balance?
Yeah. I had to see myself differently. That's what the up level was about. Yeah. See, when you're going through stuff, your body, there's clues, right? Your body gets like, well, you know all this, but yeah.
So. Enough said, right? I love it.
Yeah.
All right. So just under all that, know that you're here for greatness, right?
That's what I believe. I think we all are. Absolutely.
Yeah. And so tell us a little bit more about how you see that.
I work with people that are connected to the divine. I work with people who are really understanding and tapped in and understand literally that they have a mission in this life, right? And very often that shows up for my people and me through our work. Like, so I always say my business is like my ministry. It's how I serve. Yeah. And so what I want to do is I want to awaken that greatness. I want to lead people to be the greatest versions of themselves. And of course, make money doing it. We're not giving this stuff away, you know? But that is my vision. It's just like, oh, how can I just like, you know, give hope and inspiration and just help people really step up to that, just who they're supposed to be. That is my, that drives me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the point, right? Do what drives you.
Yes.
Take your
Yes.
ninja and help others. Okay, so your soul will show you the way. So how did you feel that really happened for you? I know you use a pendulum, so
Yeah.
a little bit more.
Like I said, I mean, why in the world would I be told, and I mean told like intuitive hit, that I should be a business coach when I never had read a business book. I never worked in business. Like there was nothing that was logical about that. Yet it was in front of me. So your soul shows up in either, a book will fall off the shelf or somebody will say something. You're like, and there's this knowing, and it defies logic, and it defies like where we get screwed up as we go, oh, that sounds good, but I don't know how, so I can't.
I know, right?
You just have to say yes to the what, the how will reveal itself. And so there will be clues. There will be apps. And sometimes I gotta say this, and this to be true. It'll blow up shit. Like your life will be like, things will be taken away. It'll be like, what? It looks like, I always say, very often there is destruction before creation.
Oh,
sometimes
or baby burn.
There you go. We have to let go of things in order to have, open hands to receive the next thing. But if you trust the wisdom of the universe, you're always being taken care of. You're always being shown the way. You're always guided. And so if you just go, okay, what's the next right step? You don't have to know the whole package. You just got to go, okay, what's right? And then you step into it.
Yeah. I always say the soul works in onesies. Yeah. Focus on the one thing.
Yeah. That's really good. I like that.
Or ordering things too. If you got a whole bunch of things, they need a certain order, okay, so what's if you can what's the one thing you do? We've done that. That's how we got our slides here. Your slides here. Cool. Okay. So you don't have to do it by yourself, right?
Yeah,
and we're not doing it by ourselves and just, joint venturing here and doing an interview, right?
Yeah, but I think I always say, raise your hand if you're a woman, and raise your hand if you're a firstborn overachieving superhero. And if you're both of those, good hell, because many of us have been taught, I can't ask for help, or I think we're getting better. And I teach my clients on this a lot, is that literally you have to have people supporting you. You cannot, they say it takes a village to build a dream, basically. You cannot do it yourself. I mean, I'm a freaking mindset ninja. I can do great things for my clients. And I can't sometimes coach myself out of a paper bag when I'm in a bad place, right? Yeah. So I have the people I go to, and that's what you have to understand. Nobody gets this alone. Like, I feel like this creation stuff, it's like everybody's getting a hand in it,
Yeah.
So, yeah. Because it's overwhelming to think like, wait, I should have to do all that? What? No, you don't. Right? You got to do your piece, right?
And so the importance of coaches, joint venture partners, business besties, and mentors, is having that somebody who's maybe even just that one step ahead of you to like warn you. It reminds me of like when your body starts falling apart at 40 and now you're like wearing the readers and stuff like that. Yeah. If you're not with somebody, or you don't have someone in your life that's like been through that stage, it just feels so like overwhelming. And now I'm in my early 60s and like my hair is thinning and it's like, oh, I've never had that, It's
I know.
I
feel you, sister. I know. It's really annoying.
It's really annoying. All right. So yes. And then your people are waiting for you. I just love that line. Tell us more about that.
When I've done I've done so many like up levels and up levels and up levels, and I so tap into who am I here to serve. And here's what I really know, Linda, is I wouldn't have, I didn't get the dream to be an accountant. Thank you, Jesus, right? Because we'd screw up everything. But I did get this dream, and the people for whom I am theirs and they are mine, because I think we have soul agreements with this stuff.
Nice.
My people are waiting for me to step up. And so very often what we do is we get into like, well, who am I? People already know this. There's a whole bunch of people already doing it. But no. Your people are your people. Like you and I probably do similar things in some ways. And the people that are assigned to you energetically are going to hear you and go, oh my God, right? The ones that are supposed to be mine are going to be mine. And we could literally say the same things. We could do the same healing, growth stuff. So if you understand, it's not just about what you want. It's also like, there are some people out there that you're supposed to help. Like, they're waiting for you to step up. They're waiting for you to stop playing small. They're waiting for you to finally say, okay, use me. Like, I'm on the path, whatever that is. I will be the steward of this mission to help those people.
And it really is about stepping into that feminine energy. Like Julie Fouch talks about the art of feminine marketing, and knowing that we aren't in competition with one another. In fact, number one, we can really support one another, as well as people are going to work with, you know, who they like, not so much who can do what, you know. Even if you're not vested, if they're your person, they're going to work with you over someone who is like, yeah, person might be a little bit better at this. However, I just really like her, you know. Like, yeah, right?
Exactly. Right.
Not competition. I love it. Okay. So your limits don't have to hold you back. True that.
Yeah. This is what I do with people. So very often, well, let me go back a little bit. It's not just your limiting thoughts. It's not just stuff you don't know. There's, and you know this, most of what drives us is unconscious, right? And it's really difficult if you were raised in an environment where maybe you didn't get modeled that women can be powerful and make money, or maybe you were raised in an environment where you were basically told, like, to be quiet, like, we don't want to hear from you. Right. And so now you have your business and you're like, wait, I got to get visibility. I got to sell myself. Oh crap. I got to do Facebook Lives. I got to tell people how good I am. And everything in your conditioning is like pulling you back.
Yeah.
And then there's also the unconscious parts of it where maybe you're taking on your grandmother's, you know, I'm Irish, you can tell by the freckles, right? And my grandma lived through a lot of shit in Ireland, and there was the potato famine. And so there is the ancestral DNA stuff, like literally we carry in our ancestors' traumas, even with the blue eyes, the freckles, I get the trauma as well. And so there's so many things, emotions, energy, like there's so much stuff that you're kind of held hostage to. But the good part is there's people like me and you who know how to free that and release that. You can't just go to a traditional business coach or probably even a life coach and get this work, and not even a therapist, right? Because there's a limit. They're talking about cognitive stuff. They're talking about your thinking, but it's so much deeper. It really is so much deeper. But the cool part is it can happen. It can happen. And I've had people, you know, I had one person, for example, that spent $30,000 and she got a whole new website designed, paid for a copywriter, got new photography, hired a really high-end mentor, and after 6 months hadn't made a dime. And so she came to me and she's like, oh, I forgot to work on my mindset. And so that's what a lot of people do is they work on the outer pieces of it and they're thinking, oh, but I need that. I got to get that. I got to get a new banner and more Twitter followers. The truth is, if you have things that are blocking and holding you back, you're going to be actually repelling your success or making it really slow and hard.
Yeah, it's a good way to, you know, hide. Really, you know, just hide behind all the production.
Exactly. Yes. I got to get another certification.
Oh,
I got to rewrite. Yeah, I know.
I know that one. Okay, cool. So people are celebrating your arrival. Oh, yeah.
Well, it's kind of like your folks are waiting for you, but you know, and I remember years ago, I was doing some work with a healer friend of mine, and I was like, I don't know if I can do it. This is probably 10 years ago, and I didn't have the confidence I had today, right? Because he was like, you're a healer. I was like, I can't say that word. No, don't kill me, right? And he's like, imagine your people are there waiting for you. And again, so it's very similar to your people or your people. But if you just think about this, so you have work to do, you have a vision in your heart. So imagine you're going to walk in a door and there's going to literally be a room full of people going, you're here, right?
I know, right?
How cool would it be to market with that perspective?
Mm-hmm.
Most of us get into the mindset of, I don't want to be a bother. Oh, I don't want to ask. Oh, you know what I mean? But literally imagine these people are and it's not from an egoic place. It really isn't like, oh, because I'm the bomb. It's just like, you know, on a soul level, oh, I stepped into my thing and then I can serve them and they're going to get better. And like, it's a ripple effect of all the good things are going to happen. So just, that's a really nice mindset shift is like, what if you thought they're celebrating you?
Yeah.
Duh.
Yeah, right. And then, you know, we think about like all those people clapping, you know, but then, oh, there's that person in there, that troll or whatever that's, you know, dissing us. And my business bestie friend, Stina Marie, she has an exercise that talks about escorting that person out of, having someone else escort that
Brilliant.
right
Brilliant.
out.
Love it.
Like,
Yeah.
whoa, delegation, and
Yeah.
you don't have to put up with anything. Yeah.
No hecklers.
That's what
Get out. I love that. That's great.
Yeah. Okay, so you can make great money doing it.
You know, especially if you are a service-based business owner and who is in the transformational or healing space, I think there's literally collective energy. You hear this all the time, broke healer, you know, and a lot of women have come to me saying, God, but my work is kind of spiritual. I feel guilty charging for that.
Oh.
But that's not really how it's supposed to be. Like why would we get a gift in order, you know, like, I think there's old kind of religious
Totally.
archetypes that are like, oh, it's better to be poor in spirit and blah, you know, crap like that. That basically we bump into using religion or our version or interpretation of what scriptures say as an excuse. Well, I can't because that wouldn't be spiritual. You can't have, like, anybody knows that you can't have money and be spiritual at the same time.
Yeah, which ends up being spiritual bypassing, right?
And so that's what I would ask you is like, you know, that's where a lot of money blocks come, is just like, wow, how was I raised related to spirituality and money? What does it mean that pastors are, you know, wealthy? Because people, you know, disparage that a lot. And so we hear like, oh, you know, if it's spiritual in nature, you know, you should just give it away. And that's bullshit. I think, you know, I'm sure you're the same way. Our whole lives have been building to this moment. Like, how many thousands of hours of training and for me therapy and mentoring and just crafting, like spending thousands of hours crafting our trade. Why? I mean, lawyers that are, you know, tearing up families doing divorce law are making $500 an hour. Why should we not, for getting you to your greatness, right? So I would just say, just notice that. Like, is there any place in you that's like, oh, I can't really charge for this, you know? Because you should. We should be richly blessed for our great work in the world.
Yeah, when you have that straight, you're actually going to bring in the people who truly are waiting for you. Because energetically, people can't see you if you're not in touch with your true energetic value.
Exactly.
Right? And so I have an exercise where it's like, if you went to college, even if your parents paid for it, write it down. What was that total? And then another little piece of paper, you know, if you took Reiki 1 and 2, but took Reiki 3 separate. Okay, Reiki 1 and 2 was this much I invested, and Reiki 3 this much. You keep writing it on separate pieces of paper and just keep piling that paper up, and then you can get in touch with that, right? Yeah. And it was fun because I work with my husband, so he did it, I did it, we put it together, and that's when our coaches told us why we could hold the energy on X amount for a 3-month package. And it made all the sense in the world. And sure as shooting, just the right people just came flying in. And it's like,
that's a great story.
Wow, like, how does this really work? Like, that's how you do, you know, and they're like, yeah, that's sales. And it's like, what? Sales is just a conversation. Like, okay. I love it.
Cool.
Okay. So yeah, you were born to do this. I love that when you just really zero in on kind of like how you've always operated in the world. Like for me, like in why coaching, you know, my why, it's not Simon Sinek's why, is I make sense of things, right? And so I do it all the time. It doesn't even matter what I'm doing, as long as I'm making sense of things. So I was born to do that, and I can put that in all kinds of categories as long as I'm doing that, right?
You know, one of the exercises, kind of a life coaching thing, is they say, what were you playing? What games were you playing, or what were you fantasizing as a child? And I have to tell you, I have props here. I was playing fairies. I was doing like when I was in kindergarten, first grade, I would go about like, you know, transforming things, and I'm like, holy shit, I've done this my whole life, right? And so if you understand that literally there is no accident. I mean, how crazy. I was a prison guard at one point. Then I was working in psychiatric hospitals. Then I was working with drug addicts, and now I'm a business coach. What? Like there shouldn't have been a path to that. But my soul guided me, right? And so like this slide that says, trust what shows up. I'm really a big believer of like, what are the signs? Life is giving you clues, listen, or you'll be slammed on your back and maybe you have to do it the hard way, which I call the rub your nose in the puppy dog school of learning. You gotta like get your nose in full of poop. And so that's kind of what you do. It's just like, but you have to be open. That's what, how many times, Linda, have you stood, stand on the side of the beaches and I'm like, okay, use me, God, just use me. I'm like, whatever, I will be, whatever, I will do, whatever I will. That is my constant prayer. And so when that happens, you like say the prayer. Sometimes life took my husband away. Like, oh, nope, he's not the right man, getting a divorce. What? Right. Sometimes programs stop working or clients go away. Sometimes you get an eye injury and you can't see for a week. You gotta trust, like, okay, this is in service of my evolution, so I can be the better version of what I'm supposed to be.
Yeah, it's cool. It really is how it all falls into place. And I was just thinking about you, because like for me, it was school teacher, right? I was on the front porch with all my dolls and my stuffed animals. They were all the dolls, and I was McGillicuddy, the teacher. And and so I can just see you in that prison using your intuition, using doing energy work and just keeping everybody.
No, I don't know that I was that good back then.
And I was in like a psychiatric day treatment center with kids kindergarten through 5th grade, and a lot of them were very violent, right? So yeah, and as you look back though, you can see like, oh yeah, I always did this, or this saved me from harm.
Well, here's a funny prison story. I don't usually talk about my prison guard experience. I was like a baby. I was like 23. I was really super young, super codependent. Hello, you should never put a codependent little 23-year-old in a prison. Anywho,
with all the narcissists.
One of the gifts that I found in myself was that I could see them, because I was trained like they're basically less than, they're bad people, stay away from them, they're maggots, don't trust them. And it was such I'm going to use the word mindfuck. Because I'm like, no, they're lovely. Mm-hmm. Now, some weren't lovely, clearly. But the ones that I connected with was just like, and I would say there, but for the grace of God, why? Because truthfully, back then I had done drunk driving. I had the things that they were in for. I'm like, crap, they just got caught and I didn't when I was young.
Right? Isn't that a great way to see people?
Yeah, but I saw their humanity, right? I saw beyond the labels. And I'm like, that for a young 24-year-old, whatever it was, to be able to see a woman that has murdered somebody and just have compassion and go, I understand that, and you're not that. And that's, I never thought about it until just now, like I love that about me, that I can see beyond the labels and I can see the greatness and I can see, and I can always have that open heart and compassion. So thank you. So my prison experience wasn't a waste.
No, it wasn't. You held that space. And, I did. That's energy work to translate that to them. So
I did. The system didn't support it because it is not a friendly system at all. It was really dysfunctional system. But the few people that I was able to touch, I conveyed respect when they were getting none elsewhere. So thank you. Gosh,
exactly.
It was a nice little gift for you today. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. So trust what shows up. I don't know if you feel like you covered that.
I already talked about that. The whole world is supporting you. Like, imagine if you just believe that. Like this developmentally, when a child is born, the first developmental task to learn is the world safe or not? And if you have a parent, or if there's a rupture in connection, you learn that I can't trust people, that people are not there for me. Mom was sick, so she never picked me up, or whatever it was. Mm-hmm. And you got to get it right. You have to you don't have to. It's just easier if you believe. Like Wayne Dyer had a story. I love this. He was in his cul-de-sac or his neighborhood, and some people drove up. He was watering the grass, and people drove up and said, "Hey, we're thinking of moving to this neighborhood. What are the people like here?" And he goes, "Well, what were they like where you used to live?" Nobody ever talked to anybody. People were mean. He's like, "Yep, that's what you're going to find here." And then another time he's watering the lawn, and people come and say, "Hey, we're thinking about this neighborhood. How are the people?" And he said, "Well, what were they like before?" And they said, "Oh, they were so friendly. My gosh, everybody helped each other." And he goes, "Yep, that's what you're going to see here." And so I want you to understand, you can have the innocence. Now, you're not going to be stupid. You're not going to be naive and let people take advantage of you.
Yeah, believe in God, lock your doors.
Pretty much. That's a good one. But imagine if you have the fundamental belief that you are supported.
Yeah.
as opposed to people have to screw me. Oh God, it's dog eat dog. That's a really hard way to live. Like that would be difficult to live. So my belief is, well, of course people are going to like me, and of course they're going to want to hear from me, and of course they're going to support me. And I work on receiving. I didn't say this, but how much can you receive? Like I work on that constantly. How can I expand my capacity to receive more money, more good, more love, more sex, more fun, more joy, more good food, more, right? Because it's all ours, right? We just don't step into it enough.
Love it. Very cool. And then kind of the bottom line here is it's your time, right? So get out there and get going. And what is the one thing that you need to take that next step, right? So how would you summarize
what I would say, Linda, is you decide, because nothing happens. Like if I'm going to plan a trip to New York City right now, I don't need to know the days of travel. I don't need to know where I'm staying because I haven't decided to go. Exactly. But if I say, okay, February 14th, I'm going to take my sexy boyfriend in New York City. Okay, well, I want to stay in Times Square. Okay, well, I get a bit of scenery. When you decide, then the rest of the information comes afterwards. So if you just decide, and what I would do is I'd pick up my pendulum and just go, all right, something blocking this? Because lots of times we have stuff in the way, right? And so you work with somebody like Linda or myself, and you just go, what is blocking you? Because sadly it is. There's stuff that is blocking it. Or sometimes we decide, but we go, yeah, but if it doesn't work out, I know you didn't enter your marriage with Terry to go, if it doesn't work out, you didn't do that. You made a commitment, right? You committed, and there is no burn the ships. There is no, if it doesn't work out, I'll just go sell coffee or I'll do whatever. That's not a decision. A decision is I'm 100% in. I'm committed. I'll just say to my clients, like, put a ring on it. Put a ring on it. And until you're there, you don't have a business. It's just a hobby. And you're just like putting your toe in, and that's not a commitment. So you're going to get not a commitment back. So
Well, and you can take that to a fault, because I was in a 33-year starter marriage. So, and
that's true.
Getting out of that one earlier would not have hurt anything. So
that is true. That's true. But when it's the right thing, that's the whole other issue of overstaying. Yeah. Another conversation. I get you.
Yes, ma'am. And so, and really, you're super zeroed in on the mindset. And so I love to be able to refer people to you for the mindset. I'm more like the clarity, the organization, having all these thoughts in your head, and even organizing and dragging out content from people. And I do books in 30 days, and all that stuff. So and if we took like all our accolades or whatever, all the different things, we've been pretty much all the different types of coaches you could possibly have, right? But we're both zeroing in on our own things now. And so it's lovely to joint venture with you. So thank you so much for this interview and for being you. And
thank you.
I love it.
Thanks. Thank you. It was great. Appreciate your time here.
Same here. Bye, Therese.
Take care.